how is it going from being a student of fighting to now a teacher of fighting to being an OG? Like, what's that like being an OG in the fighting game?
It's a mixed bag of emotions, really, for me. I think when you're a fighter, you'll always be a fighter, and you'll always have that mentality until you take your last breath. So it's a little bit of sadness, but it's a little bit of it's great also, because then I can pass my knowledge on to the younger generation of fighting, fighters.
Like what advice would you give to anybody that believes in their heart they want to fight pros in the MMA or boxing or martial arts?
My best advice I could give to any young fighter, and I gave it to John Gotti III. I gave it to his father, and I would give it to any young fighter. Have good management. Just make sure that the people around you genuinely really care about you, because this game will really swallow you whole. For me, I fought everybody and anyone and everybody in the sport, and I didn't really pick and choose my opponents. And it's a good thing, but it's a bad thing. That's it.
How did you first get into MMA? What drew you to it? How did you wind up in the gym?
I kind of stumbled upon fighting through just basically, really?
Asshole. So
do you want to start over, or?
What? Keep going.
All right.
So how did you?
I fucked it up.
No, it's fine.
So go ahead.
So how did you get into MMA? Like, how did you?
So I grew up in Springfield, Massachusetts, and I moved at an early age to Long Island, New York, where I didn't know anybody, and I had a kind of a tough time, and I got bullied, to be honest with you, and I picked up boxing. Boxing was my first sport I did. And I had a boxing trainer in Glen Cove, New York, tell me that I could have been a professional boxer. So I watched the Gracie family, and Hoist Gracie was doing unbelievable stuff. He was taking down bigger, stronger opponents and taking them down and choking them, and I said, I want to learn how to do that. It's amazing. And I fell in love with Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And as you can see, if you look that way right there, everybody's training the art that I love. I mean, it's really what saved my life. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So, that's kind of how I got into fighting. Long story short end of it.
And did you know right from the start that you wanted to fight in the pros? Like how did that transition happen?
No, you know what's funny? I used to be the guy in the gym that my teacher used to kind of sick people on. Like, people would come in off the street and they would say that they were street fighters or whatever, and my teacher would say, okay, you're a street fighter, you're a tough guy, go wrestle with this young kid right here. And I was like 21, 22 years old at the time, and then I used to just destroy them, and they used to leave, and some of them would never come back, or some of them would continue to train. So I fell in love with jiu-jitsu, and when I knew how to box already. So then when I picked up the ground aspect of it, I had my first pro fight. It kind of just happened, But I knew I was a fighter from the beginning. I just enjoyed the rush of it, everything about it. The animalistic feeling of walking to a ring and knowing that it's kill or be killed. Really.
And what would you be thinking as you walk to the ring, as you're prepping the locker room for your fight? What goes through your mind?
It was a mixture of emotions, really. It was like a roller coaster ride. There would be times where I was back in the locker room and I was scared shitless, I was scared out of my mind. But at some certain point, you have to flip a switch and say, listen, this is what separates the men from the boys, you know what I'm saying? And it's either you go out there and handle your business or you get hurt. So a lot of times I would walk out there with an animalistic feeling, and then there were times where I would walk out there and say, what the fuck am I doing? I would look around and say, this is crazy, And
what about afterwards, after a victory or a defeat? Like, what was your greatest victory and your greatest defeat? Like, how did it?
So I mean, there's no better feeling in the world than winning an MMA fight in front of all those people. Like, honestly, it's better than sex. It really is. It's the most addicting feeling in the world. When you sacrifice so much, and there's so much that goes into that fight, mentally, physically. When you get your hand raised, you can't explain it. It's like a euphoric feeling.
And like, what about after a defeat? Like, what would go through your mind after a defeat?
Sadness. A lot of times I would cry. I would be devastated. You know, depending on how I lost. There were times where I lost, where I knew I was going to lose. Mentally, I wasn't in the right state. You know, because it's a lot mental, more than it is physical. So mentally, I knew I wasn't prepared. So I was walking into a fight, so to speak, that I wasn't ready for, I guess. And so that's that, you know.
What are your thoughts on bullies and people picking on the weak?
I hate bullies. I despise bullies. I despise anybody that picks on anyone that's different, whether it be, you know, mental illnesses, disabilities, all that stuff. I despise people like that. The way I look at it is those people shouldn't even be breathing, honestly. That's really how I look at it, you know. Anyone that could pick on someone because they're different, it's just wrong. It's wrong, you know.
Say you have kids coming in the gym that have been bullied, and they you know, they want to. What do you try to impart on kids that are being picked on? Like, what do you try to teach them?
To be strong, you know. So what I try to do with kids is try to build their confidence, you know, because it all really comes down to confidence. At the end of the day, if you don't have confidence, you're never going to believe in yourself, and you're never gonna win a fight. But my whole thing is with bullies, if you show them that they're not going to get away with bullying you, even if you lose, you will win. You get what I'm saying? Like if a bully comes up to you and he starts messing with you, and you hit him as hard as you can in the face, even if he beats your ass, he'll respect you enough to know that he's not going to put his hands on you again without something coming back. So that's kind of how I feel about bullies. The way I look at it is if a group of people are attacking me, I'm going to hit the biggest one.
What would you say to kids coming in the gym that they're in here, they're training every day, they're building themselves up, they're the real deal, they're humble, they're respectful, but say they have some loudmouth, some fraud, some fake tough guy picking on them, trashing them on the internet? What would you tell a kid like that how to deal with it? Because if it's a teenager, they might not have all their emotions in check. They're still developing into a man.
I would say don't ever get out of character, and I'm guilty of this myself because I hate internet tough guys, and I kind of fall into that trap sometimes. It's a tough thing, but I would say never lower your character because someone else has lower character than you. So for example, like if someone is bad-mouthing you or being a hater, chances are they're just jealous of you. So ignore it, really. That's what I would say. Try to ignore it, you know, as much as you possibly can, you know.
How did your relationship with women change after you became a pro fighter? Like, were they all over you? Were you getting swarmed by girls after you started fighting?
I mean, there were a lot of groupies and stuff like that, and at the peak of my career, it was crazy. But I mean, don't get me wrong, I had a lot of fun, but I was a lot like John Gotti III in the sense to where I was all about my career. Actually, I can't even compare myself to him because I think he was way more focused and way more ahead of the game than I was at his age. I think that he's something very special, and I'm not saying that I wasn't, but I'm saying that I was kind of distracted at times, yeah, by women, by going out, the camaraderie, you know, the whole, I guess, so to speak, the clout of being a fighter, you know. So, yeah, I mean, it changed for me, for sure.
What, I don't know, is there something you want to say?
No, I just want to say that, you know, I think Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is for everyone, and MMA is for everyone, you know. It doesn't matter how big, how tall, how strong, how weak, you can get something out of this, so.
And do you think MMA is like the best sport for someone, the best martial art for someone trying to learn martial arts?
Well, yeah, absolutely, because it is exactly what it stands for. MMA stands for mixed martial arts. It's a mixture of all the martial arts combined into one. An MMA fighter is whatever discipline he decides to put all into one ball that works for him. So every MMA fighter is different. I was a Thai boxer and a jiu-jitsu fighter. I didn't have very good wrestling, but I was primarily a jiu-jitsu fighter. So I mean, everyone favors certain things. Nowadays, it's become more of everyone's well-rounded. So, but yeah, I would say that MMA is the best for sure. Team Link, baby.